Genetically modified organisms can be defined as organisms in which the genetic material has been altered in a way that does not occur naturally by mating and or natural recombination. Foods produced using GM organisms are often referred to as GM foods. The United States started producing GM foods in the early 1980s. In 1986, EPA approved commercial growing of this first genetically engineered crop, and that was tobacco plants that were resistant to the tobacco virus. Countries growing GMO crops are Brazil, United States, Canada, South Africa, Australia, Bolivia, Philippines, Spain, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Colombia, Honduras, Chile, Costa Rica, China, India, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Mexico, Portugal, the Czech Republic, and a few more. There are global policies for banning GM foods. Many countries have banned GM foods and banned the import of GM foods. The World Health Organization, the American Medical Association, the United States National Academy of Sciences, the British Royal Society, and every other respected organization that has examined the evidence has come to the same conclusion. Consuming foods containing ingredients derived from GM, genetically modified crops, is no riskier than consuming the same foods containing ingredients from crop plants modified by conventional plant improvement technologies, according to the AAAS. Okay, this is what Alex has drawn for us.
Do you want me to talk through it?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to wrap up, GM foods are not naturally occurring. Started in the late 1980s, and the first known use was the tobacco. And it's used all over the world, but many countries have banned GM foods. There's a really big debate going on whether or not they affect the foods and the nutrition. But a lot of scientists and respected organizations have found that they're not known to harm.
Now Alex is going to read her part, and I will be doing the illustrations.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of genetically modified food. So one disadvantage is that we don't really know a lot about these organisms and what they're injecting in the food because it's not publicized. But they could be healthy or they could not be. We're not really sure. But many argue that unnatural foods couldn't be healthy, and then advocates for GM foods do argue that the foods can be healthy because they are. I mean, I don't know. An advantage of these genetically modified organisms is that they help produce more crop, keep crops stable during every season, and help companies sell products that consumers would want. So overall, our opinion on genetically modified foods is that unless they present evidence that they're unhealthy, there's really no way for us to be they're not. Okay, Libby, what do you have for us?
Okay. All right. So what we have is that the advantages are more crops, good crops, and stable crops. The disadvantages is our knowledge. Do we know a lot? No. It could be unhealthy, and it's not natural, so that's kind of scary. And people also do say that there might be allergic reactions that come out of GM foods. And what a lot of companies are being pushed to disclose whether they use GM foods. And a lot of crops are actually genetically modified, 90% of corn is, a lot of soybeans are, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's up and coming.
Thanks for watching.